some days.
Okay, we're recorded now.
Oh,
Yeah. Welcome to a nice little in-depth discussion. I'm calling these segments Hypertrophy with Coach Murphy. That's me.
oh, I almost see what you did there if I remembered what that word meant.
Well, it's the cellular structure of building mass in your muscle mostly. Mm.
Oh, it's the anti-atrophy, sir, thereby
Mm-hmm.
hyperphy, or whatever it is.
Hyper, yeah, hypertrophy.
I just made it more difficult for you because I said it wrong.
Yeah, yeah, that's okay. That's okay.
Oh, we all did.
Most people just call it the gains. Yep, getting them gains. Just
You mean like the pump and puff out or something like that?
yeah,
Or,
that's right.
mm,
That's right.
see,
Getting the gains. Yes.
mm, the
Yep. And
gains.
I am joined today with Mr. Memes of Destruction.
Hey guys, what's going
Yeah,
on? Name's here.
what's going
Oh,
on?
there's
Oh
some
boy.
balloon. Where do those balloons come from?
I don't know. Is this someone's birthday?
Does
If
it
it's your
have to do
birthday,
with a
happy
peace sign?
birthday.
I mean, we're not live or anything,
Happy
right?
birthday.
I'm like,
Yeah.
we're behind the scenes. We're recording temporally in the past for the future.
Yeah. That's right. That's right. Okay. So, memes. We're talking about the fitness. I'm a bit of the fitness, um, uh, influencer or something like that. What do you call it?
Yeah, you're
The
the
fitness
fitness monster.
influencer.
We got our
Yeah, I'm the
cookie
fit.
monsters. We've got our
Yeah.
Xeno monsters. We need our workout monster.
Yeah, we need a workout monster. One's big arms and, six pack. Yep.
Ooh. Well,
Yeah,
it looks
yeah.
like it might be more than a six pack. I think you might be rocking like a dozen in there.
Well, I save a couple for a rainy day. But anyways, yeah, talk to us a little bit about uh your your fitness journey. Like what was your beginnings? Like your most unfit self. Uh let's just call that level 1 memes.
Oh, oh. Full disclosure, I've been a slacker recently. Need to go on a run after this. But uh,
Uh,
I'd say that's I'd probably say it was probably around the first time that I quit World of Warcraft. Probably around halfway or so through like Burning Crusade or whatever it was. And I remember there at one point I was like, oh god, like 230 pounds or something like that, and not a good 230 pounds. I was a total neckbeard, and I was also in my 20s. It's a lot easier when you're in your 20s, I'm just saying. But
yeah.
at that time, I'm
It's a
like,
lot
all right,
easier to gain weight too. A lot of especially Americans around when they hit the college, and their metabolism, they're not in their teens, they're not growing vertically, so they're going to grow horizontally, you know what I mean?
yeah, see,
And
that's if
and
they're able to acquire food.
yeah, yeah, that's if they're able to acquire food. And when they do, what do they get? They get the sugar bombs, they get the freaking the snacky, crackly, fat, savory, salty, high density in
All the
calories.
delicious treats, whether they're Rice Krispie nature or occasionally ramen.
Yep. And soda pop's not it's not expensive, so they just drink soda pop more times than they drink water, which
Number
honestly,
one intake of unaccounted for calories people usually don't keep track of sugary beverages. Because here's the thing, it's like, all right, the way they usually do this, or at least they used to, it's like, all right, you have a 20-ounce Coca-Cola, a delicious Coca-Cola with all its fantastical high fructose corn syrup. They'll say something like 100 calories per serving. Now and again, I'm saying Coca-Cola as a generic sugary beverage. Depends on what part of the country you're from. Pop,
yeah.
soda, whatever. Uh, but you take that, it's like 100 calories for a serving. You're like, well, this bottle gives me joy. So I will sacrifice that 100 calories to my gut. However, upon further inspection, you realize, yes, that's about 100 calories per serving. There's about 2.5 to 3 servings in there. So essentially, standard sugary beverage, at least about a decade or so ago, was about 300 calories. And a lot of folks thought they were only getting like a fraction of that. And if you drink 3 or 4 of those a day, well, that's around an extra
It
thousand
adds
or
up.
so calories a
It all
day.
adds up.
That's not solid food. Yeah,
And it all adds up, and then your Oreos and all those other non mealtime consumptions that we have.
unless you're
Mm.
a celestial wolf girl.
Well, we'll talk about Fizz Giggity and
Well,
all those
we'll get to
crazy
that
characters.
segment. But
Yeah,
I was avoiding your question on a tangent. Let me get back to
it's
your
okay.
question and
It's
maybe
okay.
avoid it a
So
little more.
yeah, yeah. So I'll bring us back to where we were. And actually I'll rope in the tangent that you had. So we were talking about you just a dirty 2:30 you said, and it's because you were playing World of Warcraft, eating drinking soda, all the gamer juice, and probably eating Doritos and Cheetos and all that stuff.
Don't
And probably
forget your
not
hot
doing
pockets.
and your hot pockets, yes. Yep, and not going on your steady state cardio, not doing any resistance training, were you?
See, that's one of the big things. There's nothing wrong with eating delicious food. Personally, I would
Yeah.
encourage that. I'm not a doctor nor dietitian. But
Everyone needs
what I
energy.
would say is if you're balancing it out, it's like, listen, I ain't no Einstein or anything like that. It's like, but I'm like, all right, if you got calories coming in, well, if you burn an equivalent level of calories going out, you should kind of, at least rough estimate, be around whatever the mass you're at. Now that composition may change depending on one's activities,
Yeah.
but it's one of those things where if you're kind of like I was playing World of Warcraft for about 18 hours a day, um, yeah, I was not as active as I totally should have been because I was busy
Yeah.
playing World of Warcraft at the time.
Exactly.
So
Your
what I did is
characters were
I
running around. You weren't running around. You were
Oh,
just
we weren't
sitting
just
on your
running around.
computer.
We were jumping around because you can hit that
Oh
space
yeah.
bar. Your character will. It usually doesn't make a dang difference at all, but it's
Oh
just
yeah.
something for folks like us that may or may not have ADD. Be like,
Yeah.
look, a
Your
jumping
character
gnome,
was
a
swinging
jumping
around a
gnome,
big old
yay!
axe. Yeah, yeah. You weren't swinging around an axe. You probably would have really big, strong arms. You know. Yeah.
To be fair, my dwarf warrior, I think he may have had an axe or something at one point. All I know is he ended up getting a
Yeah.
legendary Phoenix mount at one point, and people were very angry with me because I rolled all 100 on that roll. And they were trying to change the rules, but there were enough folks there that were like, yeah, you rolled a fucking 100. Doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and then not that long after I stopped playing. But that is another story. Oh, God.
Oh yeah. Well,
But
no one cares once you log out. No one cares. Everyone cares about what you look like now. Mm. So you stopped playing. What gave you the I don't want to say motivation, but the inspiration to begin on your journey of fitness?
Oh, I totally pulled aggro on whatever, like Hydroxus or wherever that guy was in like Serpent Shrine Keep. After we'd already beaten the boss a bunch of times, I was lazy and I ran in the wrong direction. Long story short, I wiped us on a boss that we should have
Yeah.
beaten and continued
Oh
on
yeah.
through that Dan cavern. And the shame of that at that point, I'm just like, I could continue playing World of Warcraft for the rest of my life and actually probably be kind of happy with it because I had a job and
Yeah.
could let me play
It's
World
a
of Warcraft.
fun game, I
So at the
guess. Yeah.
time, I'm just like, maybe I should use this as a pinnacle to stop playing World of Warcraft and go out and do other things. Maybe I don't know, go back to the gym, try to get in shape, do something. And then I embarked on a 90-day challenge. I'm like, all
90-day
right, for the next
challenge.
90 days, I'm going to kick my butt like about 6 days a week. And I went from like
Mhm.
230 pounds down to like 180 pounds. And kind of like the coach there,
Whoa.
I went from my tummy kind of looking like his impressive chin to basically his abs and everything. And I'm like, oh, and
Yeah.
I documented it, and I'm like, oh, this is a cool thing. And I got a big corporate job and made a bunch of money and got some investments and all this stuff. And I'm like, wow, I just buckled down for 90 days and I did a lot. And then
There
for
you
the
go.
next
There you go.
15 years, been so damn lazy.
Oh yeah, it happens. Yeah.
You don't
Oh
want to
yeah,
peak
being
too soon.
lazy. Yeah. But that's okay. That's okay. You've been on sort of a calisthenic program lately, haven't you?
It's again when we say lately, we're talking kind of the years of darkness, the years of the plague, and everything like that. Because that was right around the time I'm like, all right, I should try to go back to the gym and get in shape because I hadn't been to the gym in like I don't know half
Yeah.
a decade. And right as I was getting ready to go back on March 16th, which is actually we're 3 days away from the anniversary. Um,
Everything's shut
yeah,
down. Everything's
yeah,
shut
yeah.
down.
They shut down the entire freaking world, man. And I'm like, this is very poor timing. I'm like, hmm, for somebody that wants to do something, but that does not have the option of going to any gym because they're all freaking closed, what can I
Yeah.
do? And being the bad weeb I am, I'm like, wait a second. There's one thing I learned from Saitama. It's that in order to achieve near godlike strength, you must follow a very simple training regimen. 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 squats, and a 10-kilometer run. And you just freaking keep doing that again and again and again. And it's actually a pretty dang good workout if you think about it. So,
Yeah. Yeah, it's good basic it's good basic it's a good basic workout, yeah. You got your chest, you got your
legs,
abdomens,
quads,
um
this, yeah, you're getting your
yeah,
core and everything
your
there.
legs.
And don't get me wrong, there's more you can do. See, my hack for that was I did that workout for about a month or two. That first week, I literally could barely walk or go up or downstairs because I after that first workout, I'm like, oh, I'm incredibly sore because I haven't worked out in pushing a decade. It's like, oh,
And it's the
this
running. The
kind of
running's really gonna get you cause 10K, that's 6 miles, and boys,
six point
six
two
miles ain't
six.
nothing. Oh yeah, six point
Yeah,
two
yeah.
six. That's nothing to sneeze at.
No, well,
Yeah,
I mean, it's one of those things where it's like you're just going there and doing it. And to be fair, some of it I would try to use terrain. So it's like, all right, I'm going downhill. Let me try to accelerate myself, go a bit faster. And then as you're going up, it's like, well, use that momentum to keep going up till you get to the next peak, and then maybe
yep,
slow down, maybe take a walk for like 30 seconds, a minute. You catch your breath, you do what you can, but you want to just continue to go. And then
yeah,
it would be like, all right, my first ones before it's what was it? It was like probably like almost 15 minutes a mile, maybe 14 minutes, something like that, and maybe even higher. And then I think the best I've had is I think it's under a 10-minute mile, something like that. So I think it went
okay,
into like
okay.
not. I was going at a good clip that day, uh,
Oh
but
yeah.
it's
So
you
so
track your
so
progress.
you
So
got it. It was like under. I mean, it was close to an hour run. Yeah,
pretty much, yeah. I think it really was right about an hour to do
that's a good
10K there.
pace. Yeah,
It's
that's a good pace.
and you learn all different little things because I had kind of modified it for a while. I'm like, all right, let me. I would get up to like that 100. And I'm like, wait a second, let me do more. So if there's one thing I've learned from Dragon Ball Z, you want ridiculous numbers because power levels totally matter. Um, it, but what happened is I would go up. It got to the point where I was classifying myself as doing 600 push-ups, 600 this, and then I went back and looked at the videos because somebody had commented. It's like, hey, you should really go down more. And I'm like, oh, that's a very basic observation. I'm like, oh my god, my
Oh,
form went to all hell. So I'm like, all
on
right, let me just do
squats.
better quality things for
Yeah, the
that full
squats.
100, and you feel that.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, when you there's a difference between going just above parallel and then going straight ATG. You know what I mean? Like my goodness, like we've been working on Snacks' squat, and he can go pretty heavy on the on just above like at parallel, just above parallel. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
So basically, like if
he can
you're
go
at about
real
like
heavy.
90 degrees or something like that, that's
Oh
good.
yeah.
You start to go below that, it can become
Mm.
very dangerous. That's why, because a lot of times
Oh
you
yeah.
don't always use those muscles, especially to move like a quarter ton of iron that's on your back. It's like if you don't do that all the time,
Well, how
that's
many
also
times do
how
you
I've
sit?
seen very bad
How
gym
many times
videos.
do use that upper motion to sit down on a chair, to
Mm.
sit to scoot back and sit on your bed. Yeah. Um, and how many times do you actually do a straight up like some people call it the Slav squat, some people call it the Asian squat, but go straight down ass to grass, ATG, and yeah, you know what I mean? It's like wow, Snacks is getting
It's
really good at
I
that
mean,
form,
unless I was on
and
a getaway, like studying the Karma
oh yeah,
Sutra or something, not really.
oh yeah, it's good. It helps with your what do you call it, the dorsal flexion with your ankles. Yeah.
That sounds right. I'm not a
Yeah, yeah.
doctor.
Well, yeah, yeah. So the bending of your ankles, it helps. It helps that. It helps strengthen your shins. Um, get a little bit of stability in
All those
that.
little connector pieces and stabilizer
Oh yeah.
muscles.
Oh yeah, and
Mm.
it stretches out the bottom parts of your hamstrings because squats work a little bit of the hamstrings, a lot of the glutes, a bit of the lower back, and obviously, especially if you're going high bar, it gets you right into the glutes. I'm not the glutes, the quads, the quads.
Quads, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and you brought up a really important part there, coaches. Just from my personal experience, I remember when I would start those runs and stuff, I would be going and doing my thing. But I like to listen to music and or podcasts. That's actually one of the
Oh yeah.
reasons I am literally in Utah right now, because while I was going out for a run, I went on Twitter, I saw a thing, I clicked on it, I listened to it while I was on a run, and that's how I ended up here. I'm
Oh yeah.
leaving out the big part in the middle, but that's for a story for another day. But
It's okay.
what I would notice is while I was going out running and stuff like that. Now, if it's just flat pavement and it's all smooth, okay, that's fine. Pavement isn't the greatest thing on your ankles because you have extra force going down. So I try to like run on
Well, there's
grass.
a
So
lot of
like if there's a
trails
little
around here.
grass
Actually,
there.
yeah, yeah. Snacks went on a. He went on a. We're getting back into rucking, but
Mm,
we only went with a 10-pound backpack, mostly water, and a snack to have at
smart.
the. Yeah, 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 yeah. At the 2.5 turning point, we sat down, we ate, and then we hiked back. So it was like a 5 mile go.
No,
It wasn't it
that's good.
wasn't
You
the.
got the additional weight. Son Goku would be
Mhm.
would like that. I should remember after
Oh
watching
yeah.
Dragon Ball Z back in the day. It's
No, no,
like,
no. It was Dragon
hmm.
Ball. It was Dragon Ball. Him and Krillin were doing the Master Roshi training, and
See,
they had to wear
I
the
had watched
heavy
some of the
the heavy
Dragon Ball
turtle.
movies, like was it the Blood Rupees and the Princess one
Oh yeah, yeah,
and stuff.
yeah.
So I had watched some of that. I watched some of Pokemon, and then that's when I kind of got around to Dragon Ball Z. I'm like, oh wait, so so basically I was used to Goku having like the weighted clothes, the armbands, and everything. And when you
Uh-huh.
go back, you realize that was very deep lore from all the Turtle Hermit training. Uh,
Yep.
but at that time, I'm like, all right, let me go grab a 40-pound weighted vest, some arm and leg weights. I think at one point I went for
Ooh,
like a
that's
jog
heavy.
wearing like 60
Yeah,
pounds worth of
that is
weight. And
heavy.
I'm like, looking back, that probably wasn't a really smart thing to do. But I mean, if you're like,
Y-
I don't know, 16 years old and in high school, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm basically invincible.
I mean,
Unless you've
yeah, you're made
experienced,
of
yeah,
you're made of rubber and miracles when you're 16, but
piss and vinegar
you know,
too. Yeah.
yeah, piston vinegar and all that stuff. But when you're starting getting back into it, you want to go light, you can go a little heavy, you want to go light, you want to go short distances, and then you pick up the weights, you pick up the distance, you pick up the weights, you pick up the distance until you get like 35-pound bag. Maybe you're getting a little, and you're like, I want to go heavy, I'll go 50. I won't go harder than 50 though, because what's the point? You know what I mean? You're just going long distances, and 50 pounds should be okay. Um, and you want to go long distances too. So
No, that's like you're kind of balancing. Well, it's kind of like a role playing game or something like that. If you're playing like Final Fantasy or something like that, it's like you can do these things. Your character may go out, but it's like you want to have the inventory management. It's like, all right, do we
yeah.
have a large enough health pool to get through this boss fight? Do we have enough magicka, AP, whatever you're using
Oh
for your
yeah.
different attacks? You're managing the stuff there, and then sometimes you go a little He-Man, and it's like you might push yourself. Maybe you're using a limp brake or something like that, and
Look,
but you got to
you
be
want to keep
careful because
yourself in
sometimes they might
a
drain your
good
HP.
state. Yeah, you want to keep
Hmm.
yourself in a good state. They call it zone two, but you want to fluctuate. You want a higher end of the zone two, and then the lower end to like zone one. You know, when you're like starting to come around, trying to catch your breath, and then you pick it back
What's
up
a
again.
zone?
You oh, the cardio states is your
Oh,
your
your heart rate range and
cardiovascular,
stuff like.
yeah,
Okay,
heart
yeah,
rate,
yeah.
yeah, cardiovascular
I
heart
remember
rate.
seeing that on like an
Yeah.
exercise bike
So
once. Yeah,
yeah. So it's like I forgot how many beats per second, but it's like
it's a reference
up
like your
into like
age, your approximate
yeah, like your
weight. Here's the standard
yeah
range. Yeah.
yeah like your 150 beats per second, all that stuff, or beats per minute.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, stuff like that, and gets you going, gets you it's it lets you know that you are indeed burning a good amount of calories. You know what I mean?
Unless you know you're freaking alive too, because you can actually feel it.
Yeah.
You can feel like again, I'm not a biologist or anything, but it's like, all right, you get your hump beat. Yes. You have your hump beating. I mean, your heart beating, and it's pumping the blood. It's going through there. You're getting
Yep.
circulation, and I believe at least for me, especially if I haven't worked out for a while, the first couple of times when I start working out and I start sweating, I go blind. My sweat is full of so much salt and stuff. It stings my eyes. But then after like a
That's
few
why you wear the
days, it's like,
headbands.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
you wear
You're
the
onto
you
my
wear the sweatband.
secrets.
You be that one guy with the sweatband in.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's not like it's full of freaking hair, but uh,
Yeah.
it's one of those things where I think you're also like cleaning out kind of like some of the toxins and stuff in your body. Again, don't think this is medical advice. My personal experience is I feel a lot better
Yeah.
after I do some of the runs. It's cycling everything out. You can drink water. So that's where at least us humans, I'm not sure about puppets and monsters, but we're about like
Yeah.
80% water. So we tend to go the path of least resistance. So I just look at
Yeah,
that and I'm
most of
like,
them.
all right, let me just drink some water. Oh, wait, it has 0 calories? 0 calories, 300 calories. Difference? High fructose corn syrup. Hmm.
Mm,
And you got a
yeah.
little flavor thing. It's got like a little
Yeah.
salt in it.
Yeah, carbs are good for you. Don't be a crazy carbophobe, but you do want to eat easy digestible ones. Like rice is good. Um, certain types of bread. Not all breads are good for you, but um, not
Yeah,
bread's
that
not
depends on
bread's
the
not the
person.
devil.
Different folks, yeah,
Yeah.
different folks have different dietary restrictions and stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
Try to
yeah.
avoid eating
Obviously.
things that are going to kill you. I mean, that's not a good idea or
Well, I'm
may
not
harm
talking
you.
about the people of heavy celiac disease. No, I'm talking about like just the average Joe, and then you know the the bread eaters and all that stuff.
The
They'll
bread
that will
eaters.
oh yeah, the big old bread eaters. My goodness, that that
The
will that
bread
will blow you
eaters,
up.
and don't forget the cup drinkers.
Oh yeah, the cup drinkers. Yep, full of like juicy juice or you know, um, you might think that
No,
you're
no,
drinking
those are the
Gatorade
box
and Gatorade is
drinkers.
good for you, but just
Yeah,
because it's
yes.
it's a sports drink doesn't mean it's actually good for you. You got to make sure you have to read the back of the label. You know what I mean?
Wait. Are you saying folks should take personal responsibility for what they put on their bodies?
Well, I mean, they should actually have an in-depth look into it. You know what I mean?
Oh, you mean like read the label?
Read the label, figure out, hey, a piece of chicken is this much protein, roundabout, well, and it's this much fat. A piece of steak is this much protein, this much fat. You know, all that stuff like this. There's many nutrients in this. Stuff like that. Yeah,
Yeah, well, unfortunately, I feel like part of this is what we incentivize and stuff. Because
yeah,
don't get me wrong, it's like a nice fresh cut, like little breaded, light breaded, panko breaded chicken breast, frickin'
yep.
delicious.
Oh,
Now,
great.
in order to get something like that
Covered in
that's
oil. Got to be
tasty,
careful how you
free,
cook it.
maybe not frozen, and stuff like that, not everybody necessarily has access to that. And you look at like,
Oh, yeah.
well, what's been a cheap source of a high amount of calories, at least over here in the American stuff? Well, it's gonna be McDonald's, Wendy's, stuff like that, generally fast food. Not that
I
I'm
mean, not
hating
anymore.
on
They're
if somebody wants
pricey
to do
now.
that. I mean, I still love those things, but it's just if that's all you're having, and especially when you're talking large scale places that need to ship things all across the country and stuff, they don't want stuff to spoil. So that's why you have to preserve the food. There
All the
go. Sometimes they'll
preservatives.
add the preservative. Yes, coach. Yes, coach. Now those
Yeah,
preservatives, and like you were saying, you want things that are easily digestible. Now, again, not a biologist, not an evolutionary biologist or a dietitian, but all I know is I'm pretty sure most of our ancestors weren't eating, I don't know, McDoubles, barbecue chicken nuggets with barbecue
yeah,
sauce, and or all these other things like over thousands of
all,
years. So it's like
yeah,
it's a newer
all
thing
that,
to handle, and
all the
yeah,
grease and stuff like that. That's slow burning and just absorbs right
it's
into
so
your gut.
tasty. It's so no, but
Yeah,
it's one of those things. It's a tasty snack. It does have a high amount of
very palatable.
calories per
Yeah,
your resources you're spending on it, and it gives you a dopamine rush. You're like, oh, this is kind of good until after, where the dopamine tends to go down. Unless you get another bump of something, yeah, you might be kind of meh.
yeah. I mean, yeah, you have a McDouble or whatever, um, you know, or let's see, a Whopper or whatever.
I'm
You know
speaking
that.
more about like if that is what you're doing, it kind of like not quite
Yeah,
super size me level,
no, no,
where for like every day for like a month, like he had nothing but McDonald's, but also
yeah.
did nothing for like a month. Um,
And he had the
so it's one
supersized
of those
stuff.
things where
My
it's like,
goodness.
yeah, no, no, no. You know, here's the thing: it's like if you don't know where to go, if McDonald's is freaking open or whatever, not to single them out, it's like I'm gonna freaking go to McDonald's. Why? I can get a tasty burger and stuff. Doesn't mean I
Yeah,
need to eat it that at McDonald's every single day for all my meals. I mean, that might not be
no,
a good idea.
no, no. And you do have to burn it off, though. You do have to burn it off.
Hmm.
And when you have a meal like that, guess what you have to do? You have to do like an hour run.
To,
Just
to,
to
to be fair,
just
Coach, I actually lost
just
weight
to
eating
burn it off.
McDonald's. Yeah, no, I went for a month, and I think it was when they had, I think they had that cool chicken wrap or something like that. Had a cool little sauce. I think I'll grab a
Yeah.
couple of those for like an afternoon
Okay. Yeah.
snack.
Yeah. Those
But
are.
I was still working
Yeah.
out and stuff, so like I was
Yeah.
I was net losing, but I was also still
Yeah.
eating McDonald's. But it was all like you're saying, it's portions and maybe
Yeah.
use sparingly. I remember one of those things used
Well,
to
you needed
be on
that
the top
energy.
of the
You
yeah.
did need that energy, and you had that energy from the McDonald's. Maybe not the best, cleanest source of energy, but still you could you eat and then you're fueled up for the gym, and you're putting in the work in the gym. That's how it goes. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're not.
no,
You're
that's
you're
it's
you're
like you
not. It's
said.
not like you're breaking the laws of thermodynamics. You're actually burning what you're putting in, and then your natural state of existing, what people call was it the non um uh was it the neat, like the your non exogenic thermal, I'm forgetting the name of
When
it.
I hear neat, I'm thinking about the association with being a closeted weeb that occasionally only interacts online. When I hear
Yeah,
neat,
yeah,
because I learned that from like X now, Mrs.
yeah,
Meme, something like that.
yeah, yeah,
But no, no, no. Like you said, thermodynamics, energy
yeah,
shall be conserved. It may change into something else, not that might convert into mass, but then again, that mass can convert into energy.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it's conserved.
Yeah, it's a conserved, and you're burning calories, just sitting here breathing. Yeah,
No, and that's one of the other
sitting
things a lot of
here.
folks don't realize. What is it? To maintain 1 pound of muscle takes an extra about 50 calories or so
Yeah,
a day, I've heard, over like if you have a pound of fat. So every pound of fat you lose, and if you replace that with muscle, now you're automatically even burning more calories. That's why like some
yeah.
of the folks that you've seen in like, was it like Jay Cutler, Mr. Olympia, whatever, it's like
Mm, those are
some of
mass
their
busters.
bulking routines, they're eating like 8,000, 10,000 calories a
Oh
day
yeah.
because if you've literally got like 270 pounds of muscle, it's like, yeah, it takes a lot to maintain that.
Well, yeah, they eat big to get big, and they are putting in that work, and they are causing, well, they're causing their muscular tears. Um, not like straight up ripping it. No, that's not like an injury thing. It's like micro tears through. well, through lifting weights and whatnot, and they need the building blocks, you know. And what are the building blocks? Well, the your body likes to it's like it likes water, you know, it likes protein, and it likes carbohydrates to build the muscle. Yeah,
Hmm.
I mean, most
I think
water
that's
is.
what that sounds like where the amino acids and stuff comes from, which is
Oh
also
yeah,
even fascinating because apparently all
well that
life as
helps.
we know it.
Yeah, a lot of amino acids helps with your what do you call it? Your gut health. It helps your oh oh shoot, what do you do with
I think they call that probiotics or something,
yeah, probiotics and
like the yogurt stuff.
your metabolism helps your metabolism too. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because yeah, apparently, like all life as we know is made up of four DNA bases. I'm like, really? Only four? That's interesting. And going back into like those micro tears and
Magic number.
kind of going back to like when you were talking about like stabilizer muscles, one of the things you notice is when you first start running, you fall a lot, or at least I did. Because as soon as I stop paying attention, I look at my phone or something. I'm literally like Supermaning down onto the ground, scraping my knee, like rolling my ankle to the
Oh
point where I'm like, oh my god, I'm not even going to be able to go to work tomorrow. I just started this job, and it was terrible. I find myself falling a lot less now because what also happened is as you're running and stuff like that, you get used to it, especially if it's not like completely flat ground, like if you're running on a trail or some grass or something like that. You also have to stabilize yourself over
yeah,
any of the different deviations there. And as you're
yeah. Your
doing that,
muscles
you're building
learn.
strength.
Yeah,
Yeah, yep. And what I found is a couple of times when my foot would get like a little loose or something, oh, I would roll my ankle horribly. Now I'll be in situations where I think even like literally the other day, I stepped in a hole that was actually pretty damn big that I could have really hurt my leg in, and it went down. But I was so used to running into those situations, and I think my stabilizer muscles are a heck of a lot stronger than
yeah,
before. That my leg just kind of adjusted, and I just kind of kept off and just kept going. And I'm like,
yeah.
wow, I probably would have been
Well,
like limping for like the next hour, a year or
Well,
so
it's
ago.
a whole connection with your muscles, your ligaments, and your whole nervous system, going in with your noggin, your brain. It's a lot of people call it the mind-muscle connection, but it's literally just practice, practice, practice until you it gets easier. It doesn't get perfect. No one's perfect, but it gets easier. You get better, and you stop tripping over gravel. You stop uh, falling face first on your face like memes used to,
Yeah.
and you start be able to to run pretty decent like memes is doing now. It's all the muscle memory. It's the mind muscle connection, all that. Yeah.
Well, it's yeah, I mean it's getting even more fascinating because I interviewed a gentleman like a week or two ago. He's been studying water and stuff like that, and he's like,
Oh yeah.
I was supposed to do a bunch of experiments, and then the plague hit, so I had nothing to do, but I was still getting paid for my position. So he's like, so I just spent the past 3 years just studying water, water related to organics and stuff like that, and apparently people have been noticing something like there's something kind of funky with water and according to, again, not a biologist or this or that,
I love
but
H2O.
yeah, exactly, present company included. Um,
Oh yeah.
but what he said is some of the effects that we were
Energy drink.
attributing to like biological cells and kind of like the different processes that they go through, like it was kind of weird. And he's like, that might not actually be a biological thing because our models are based upon this is what a cell does. So a cell does what a cell does, what a cell does. Why? Because it can. Um, but what he was finding is he was just looking for 3 years, going back about 60 plus years at like a lot of the research, and he found three different groups from three different communities that like don't know each other published results basically saying the same weird thing with water. And he's like, I think this is an actual thing. The problem is if it actually has something to do with like the water itself, because like we're made up a lot of water and stuff. So
Yep.
when we see things happening in different organic bodies, it's like we very often, oh, the cell did that because that's what a cell
Yeah.
does. What
Yeah.
he's
I
saying
mean, your
is
muscles are made
part
of
of the
mostly water. Yeah.
mm, but part of the effect that we start to notice with the different cells might actually be partially attributed to water. But if our models that we're using for biology are based upon just a cell, but it's an effect of the cell and water. That means our models might not be right, and we might have to go back and redo them. And
Oh,
that some people might not like that. I'm sorry, we're talking about walking. Water is important, I claim.
water is important. Yeah, no, yeah, well, you have to stay hydrated. You have to drink your water, especially if
I
you're
know.
taking creatine. Creatine's a great stuff. I got some, you know,
Oh my
I got
God.
some creatine right here. It's great.
Oh,
I give you my
I hated the bulking thing. It was terrible. Take five of these terrible tasting teaspoons of thing. I remember I followed these dang directions back in the day, and at one point it was like I was still in the bulk. I'm like, all right, I still need at least
oh,
one more before midnight. I'm out drinking because obviously that's a smart thing to do. So I'm out
yeah.
drinking. I'm like, finish a sip of beer, mix in some creatine powder with some water, gulp that down, try to chase it with like
Oh
a beer and everything. I'm like.
my
This is why I
goodness.
give those warnings of I'm not a this, I'm not a that. I realize there are a lot of people on the internet, and nobody would ever do anything dumb because they heard something on the internet.
Yeah, well, I put it in something good, something thick. It's actually pretty good in a protein shake. It goes down, it mixes well, goes down pretty easy. Or maybe your morning coffee. If you don't really into protein shakes and you eat your
Oh,
protein
you put
sources through.
creatine? How is that? Now, at first, I'm completely turned off, and then I think about it. I'm like, the hot the hot coffee would actually probably help to dilute it. So maybe it
Yep.
actually wouldn't even be that bad, especially if
Oh,
you had a
yeah.
little cream, a little sugar in there.
Yeah.
Actually, okay, I can
And
see
it
that
and it
working.
blends in. It blends in with the bitterness of the coffee because coffee's already bitter already. So you got your creatine powder in there, and you add your Splenda and a little bit of half and half, just a splash to make it look, nice and creamy. You
Coach,
drink it,
coach,
and then
did
and then
did
after you're done your coffee, you eat a banana and you drink water, and then that's your morning routine. You know what I mean? Maybe have a muffin. Maybe if you're looking to eat a little bitter.
mm,
Eggs are good. You know good source of protein
did
in the
you
morning.
say Splenda?
Oh, like Splenda.
Oh, oh, coach.
Artificial sweeteners, everyone.
Oh
Um,
no.
some people like
Oh
them. Some people
no, no,
don't
no.
like
Hey,
them.
it has a warning on the label. It's apparently been shown to cause cancer in lab mice. At least the ones I read 20 plus years ago when I was a kid. I haven't noticed that same warning on them recently. Maybe the science has changed. I don't know.
Maybe the science has changed. I mean, I heard that what do you call it? Oh shoot, what was the
The literature has changed. We'll go with
yeah?
that. I think that's a more accurate term.
Well, the science never changes. Science never changes. It's just the
Well, science is the
the
process. It's the
yeah
process of figuring
science
out what's going on.
exactly. It's the process. So the science never changes. It's just the updates do.
Yeah, that's why it's like if somebody ever comes out there and not that somebody would ever do this, and it's like I am all the science. I would be wary.
Artificial sweeteners are okay. They're okay.
Yeah,
They're better
moderation,
than sugar. I mean, what would you rather have, sugar or
sugar.
put too much sugar in? It's like, why just drink a freaking
No, no, no. Well, coach. To be fair, if you were to have an equivalent amount, let's say the same mass of Splenda and the mass of sugar. Now, I don't know. Like, to be fair, if your gut biome and stuff was accustomed, that's why I say don't listen to me. Listen to your doctor because I'd
yeah.
realize like folks like I know like notable folk like Professor Peterson has a particular thing where he was getting sick all the time, and then he swapped to like a very heavy carnivore and like water and some salt based diet. And apparently, it
That
seemed
is
to be working
interesting.
for him.
Yeah,
And again,
it's
because like
it's
everyone
very
is different.
anecdotal. Yeah, it's very
Right, right.
anecdotal. And let's just say, yeah, eat your fruits and vegetables, kids. They're good for you. They're healthy for you. Lots of vitamins and minerals in them. Um, I mean, yeah, like, uh, sorry for you vegans out there, but there's a heck of a lot of nutrients in animal products too. You know,
I mean,
that
meat
are
is so
must.
tasty. It's just
Yeah, they're a must.
tasty, tasty murder. Oh,
It's tasty, tasty, and nutritious. Yeah.
wait a second. Aren't you part cow?
I am the Macho Man Minotaur. I'm part Minotaur, part monster.
Aren't minotaurs part cows?
Don't have a cow about it.
Well played, sir. Continue.
Yes. But yeah, it's good sources of protein and real foods are they're actually pretty good in real foods. You know what I mean? Um, Now some people don't like to eat a whole bunch. So they'll and some people are in a bulking phase, like you said, just to because some people are hard gainers. You know what I mean? They are skinny little rail people, and they want
Mm.
to get a little bigger so they can actually grow muscle. You know, on their frame. So
Yeah, no,
protein
that's the thing.
powders
It's like, yeah, that's some
are
folks
a
like, oh
good.
my god, yeah, they can eat anything and they never gain any weight. It's like, yes, but invert that. What happens when they want to gain weight? It's really hard.
Yeah. And here's the thing about the people who are very rail thin and they always complain, I eat all the time. And then you watch them eat and they just eat what you normally eat, except for they eat like half of it. You know what I mean? It's
Well,
like,
it's also what you eat and stuff like that. It's like,
yeah,
I mean, you could just eat a whole bunch of Doritos. Don't get me wrong. Doritos are
yeah,
literally entered to be tasty snacks. Or you
yeah,
could have a chicken breast or something like that. And it's like,
yeah,
if you're working out and you eat a bag of Doritos, yeah, sure, it'll probably put on some weight, but it's like, do your muscles actually have the required resources to rebuild in the way that you're looking for? That's why very often you'll
yeah,
have like a protein shake or a bar or something that's like easy to digest, break down into those very basic pieces and help like suit your muscles and stuff. Because a lot of folks like, I mean, you notice like if you have a really
yeah,
good workout, if you don't have enough protein, you're probably going to be extra sore the next day because you
yeah,
normally be the sore. It's like, all right, I'm feeling that recovery stage, kind of like Goku or Vegeta in one of those chambers after a battle, and they're hooked up there and they're recovering and stuff. That's one type of recovery versus it's like something feels wrong. It feels like my muscles are eating themselves because
yeah.
they kind of are.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of people are under muscled and they just gain fat, and because they're at a
Well, I mean,
steady
you look at
state of.
society. I mean, over here we went from
Yeah,
like a heavy, like was it 90% like folks about 100 or so years ago? You're on a farm. I've never worked on a farm, but from talking with
yeah,
some folks that have, I'm like, wait, you're doing all this stuff and the sun hasn't even come up yet? Wow. A lot of hard
yeah.
working folks out there. But if you go from
Well, yeah.
that, it's
Well,
like,
they do it
okay, we
there
got big
because it's
machines.
nice and cool. It's nice and cool, and then by
Sure.
the time it's blistering out, guess what? It's lunchtime. You can take a break, eat your lunch, and then
Hmm.
Guess what you're doing in the afternoon? You're doing the last finishing bits because you already did the hard bit, the hard part when the sun was like just rising up. Yeah. So there's a reason why they do that.
I didn't even think about that until you just said that. No, there are a lot of places, like, especially
Well, do you want to
apparently
do it
like
in the
the
blistering sun, or do you want to do it when it's still cool out?
well played. No, that makes it's like I said, I've never actually worked on a farm, so that logically makes sense. I just had never made the connection until you said that. I know, like if you're around like the equator and stuff, and it's a really hot place, there's a good chance that from a good couple of hours during the very middle of the day, a lot of places shut down, and like you'll have that siesta break and stuff like that. And there are places over in Europe that do that as well. And you look at the
Yeah.
places that do it, it's like, all right, you're either on the Mediterranean or by the equator. Why does
Well,
this
most
happen?
places it's
It's freaking hot.
well, yeah. Well, when is harvest? Harvest is during the fall. Well, when's all the
Mm,
stuff growing? All the stuff's growing. It's being planted in the spring and growing in the summer.
mhm.
You know what I mean? It's just like growing your muscles. You got to work out in the gym. That's your springtime, and then you got to rest and feed yourself. That's the summertime. You know what I mean? And then the harvest time, which is fall, that's when you're fully recovered and you take a picture and then that's how that works.
See, I would just rearrange the seasons and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and be like, all right, well, fall and winter is when you start this, and then you harvest it in summer. Why? Higher percentage chance of being okay with being topless.
That's true. That is true. But that's for the next season. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I mean, that's what I'm betting on right now because I've totally been slacking this winter. Now we're at spring now, so it's like, all right, gotta
Oh
make
yeah.
it up and stuff. So
Well, technically, it's still technically winter, but you know what I mean. It's now working out in
you're
winter.
correct. It actually was hailing
It
out here.
it it is a drag. It's cold. People don't want to do nothing. You know what I mean. But you know what? Yeah, getting used to the gym. Especially like everyone's got their New Year's resolutions, and then they drop it. But if you keep with it, you learn how to get muscle, and then you keep with your diet to learn how to get good at your diet. Having a few cheat days like Valentine's Day, St. Patty's Day, Easter, stuff like that. Um, you'll gain your muscle, you'll lose your tummy fat, right, and your neck fat and all that other stuff. Your posterior tissue is, um, you'll
I thought
you'll look
people
good.
liked big
You,
butts.
yeah, you'll look good. You'll look good in the summertime. You know what I mean? But it's not a 1 year process. It's more of like a 3 year process, a 4 year process.
To be fair,
And
ideally,
then
you want
five
it to
year,
just be
you're
a
gonna be
life
a freaking
process.
monster. Yeah, 5 year, you're gonna be like, holy Toledo, look at me. I am super sexy. But a year later, you're just gonna be like, what have I been doing in the gym? I look better, but I haven't reached my goal. That's true.
Oh,
It's
to
a
be
it's
fair,
it's
frickin',
a long
it's
climb. It is a long climb.
yep. Tallest mountain started as a stone.
That's
That's
right.
not a geologically correct statement, but
No,
I
it's not.
like it because it was from the intro to One Punch Man when you do the American subtitles and stuff like that. But one of the things that you learn is like you just want to get into a habit, you just want to get into a process. It's like it's okay to like fall off the wagon a little bit there. When you get up, you dust yourself off, you get back on the wagon, you keep on going. Just because that is life. It's like if you have in your mind, I am going to do exactly this. Why? Because it's going to go exactly this way. The world will align exactly the way I like. Every time I do that, it never happens. It never happens. Now, I'm not saying don't get in the zone where if you happen to have an opportunity, you're acting in good faith, you're trying to be a decent human being, and if you have an opportunity, it's okay to reach out and grab it.
Yeah.
Consent matters, but I'm just saying that whatever you do it awesomely. If you screw up, hey, none of
Yeah.
us are perfect.
Oh no, I don't. I don't ask consent when I'm grabbing the day by the horns. No, I just grab it and go. I make the day my freaking B word. That's right.
I mean, I would say since you're actually here, you would be given consent because otherwise there wouldn't be coach in our realm of persistence
I mean, when
unless the
we're
sun
talking
was
about
around here.
making the day our B word, we're talking about what are we doing and
Mm.
what are we gonna do about me and improving my situation in the gym, in maybe studying, maybe artistry, maybe stuff like that. It's like what are you gonna do? You gonna just mope around and squander the day, or are you gonna make the day yours?
That was very beautiful, coach. I believe.
I mean, there is no
Uh,
consent to give because you decide it or not. You know what I mean?
see,
It's like if I don't decide, if there's no consent, guess what I'm doing? Being a mopey bum. Being a mopey bum.
it's yeah,
But if I if I
I
if
have
I
been
give
there.
consent, it's not really me giving consent. It's me going out there and getting some. Going out there
Well,
and getting a
you're
whole bunch.
consenting to be awesome. And
Yes.
I believe there's an ancient text for what you were describing here. It goes a little as follows: flowing through all, there is balance. There's no peace without a passion to create. There's no passion without peace to guide. Knowledge stagnates without the strength to act. Power blinds without the serenity to see. There is freedom in life. There is purpose in death. The force is all things, and I am the Force.
Okay.
The great
Wow.
Jedi code.
Interesting. Interesting. When I say, life gives you lemons, you grab it and you taste the sun.
That I'm not sure it
You
tastes
grab
as
it, you
good as
squeeze
one
it,
may
and you
hope.
drink the
There
you
may be a
drink
bunch
the
of
sun.
helium up there. I don't think you're gonna be the squeaky coach. I feel like all your fur would get singed off.
Oh yeah.
I understand the metaphor.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I tend to keep things a little hot. Some people do call me heat wave.
I've noticed, even
Oh
though red
yeah.
is basically a lower intensity of wavelengths, but that's okay.
Okay. Okay. Uh.
Yes, 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 I'm being that guy. Yes, the dude makes me wait for an hour after he suggests, let's do this. He barely shows up. He disappears again. He needs to grab his coffee and stuff. Oh, yeah. I miss you too.
My goodness. Talk about ultraviolet. Oh boy.
That is what he said.
Anyways. Anyways. Okay. So so what are your plans on achieving your goal to being Mr. Most Awesome memes of destruction? Because you're already kind of awesome, but you want to be the most awesomest. What's your goals on becoming more awesomer?
Do better.
In what? What's the plan?
Consume far less pornography.
Oh yeah,
Get more sleep.
get more
Do
sleep,
less drugs.
less
Gotta
drugs.
drop the
Yep.
smokes at least because it's like, all right, you're getting ready to hit the big 4-0 level ding. It's like,
And
hmm.
and it and when he says do less pawn, he means do less pawn in all aspects of the video castings. You know what I mean? Like you're on the scrolling, you're just like scroll up, scroll up, scroll up. Oh, interesting. Scroll up,
No,
interesting.
no,
Scroll up.
that's fair. No, that's scroll prawn
It's
right there.
it's
No,
it's
that's because
it's the
I
same
find myself,
addiction.
I'm looking to retweet something from like a video or something. I click the Twitter thingy, and then I'm like, where did the past 15 minutes go? Oh my god.
It's literally an attention succubus.
Mhm.
Seriously, I know a thing or two about mythological monsters, and let me tell you something. That is, now the Instagram succubus. You always trying to suck up your attention and waste your day.
Now, does this just mean we need better memes? Because I just feel like, see, my experience with a succubi mostly involved playing World of Warcraft, getting owned by warlocks when I
Well,
was a mage,
yeah,
and
yeah,
then a little
you're
succubus
most
just comes out there. All of a sudden, I'm asleep. I can't do this. There's like a bajillion dots on me, and then
yeah,
I'm being feared, and then all of a sudden, by the time I'm already at like half health, Curse of Doom is getting ready to tick off, and then I
yeah.
finally kill the pedant, and the warlock kills.
I mean, sometimes the internet's not bad. It's not bad. You can use the internet. It's a good tool to use. You can read
Oh, yes.
you can read articles. You can listen to a podcast as you're working out, doing two birds one stone,
Mm,
or two birds one upload. You know what I mean? Um,
mm.
it's stuff like that. The internet's not a bad place, but you have to it's like a town, you know what I mean? There's the bad part of town, there's the good part of town, and then there's the part of town where you just hang around wasting your darn time.
So what you're saying is we should either go to the good part or the bad part, but then again, depending on who you ask, the good part may be
Yeah,
the bad part, and the bad part may
it's
be the
true.
good part.
Well, yeah, there's different aspects. It's like how you gonna clean up this town, you know what I mean?
Legalized dueling.
Legalize dueling, that's a good idea. I'm
It's,
100%
I'm
for
sorry,
it.
I realize that's supposed to be a bit of a hyperbolic statement without
I'm all
question, but
for
you
the
set yourself
smackdown.
up, Coach.
I'm all for the SmackDown. Learn boxing, learn
I,
wrestling.
I, I
Jiu-jitsu is
know
good.
that's the that
Jiu-jitsu is
literally,
good.
Coach. That is why I'm in a monastery right now because my previous thing was I was going to go full bore on legalizing dueling. I'm like, this will solve the problem Why? Because no one group or community has a monopoly on assholes. Because I spent a lot of time thinking, like, how can we solve the world's problems? Hint,
Yeah, next
it ain't
next time you're in
easy.
town,
It's
man, we should have a
complicated.
duel. Yeah, we should have a duel
Well,
next
my
time.
thing is, especially at least just for
Well,
the internet has done
at
a
least a
many,
LARP for all those law
yeah,
enforcement people. We would
yeah,
just be doing a
it's
LARP.
done many great things, but my thing is, after being within the greater skeptical community, let's say, you're going around and you see a lot of folks, and you notice start patterns. It's like, oh my god, today this thing is the worst thing in the world. It will destroy the internet. This person is the worst thing in the world. This situation, I'm like, wow, every day it's the worst thing in the world that's going to destroy us all, which eventually evolved into person we like destroys, all capital letters. That's very important. Person that and again, it doesn't matter what side you're really
I mean,
choosing there. If you're
well,
just
yeah,
going
that's
for attention, it's literally pick a side, say nice things about things that people like, say bad things about stuff that people don't like, rinse, lather, repeat. I mean, literally what they teach you in business, at least when I was studying business, when I went to college for that, it's like, all right, basically just take a model that's proven to work, tweak it, modify it a little bit, add your own flair, and continue. So it's like, what am I going to do? Say, don't do this. Like I've had conversations with, I forget one of the big streamers that talks like drama and stuff all the time. I'm like, was complaining about people saying words on the internet. I'm like, you could log off. And his response, I remember it very vividly. He was like, why would I do that? I'm making money from this. I have
yeah.
no response. What am I going to do? It's like, don't hate the player, hate the game. If this is how the game is set up, how would you change that? I'm like, well, a lot of folks say these people are evil. As soon as you're calling your fellow human being evil, especially a person that you haven't met, especially a person that hasn't been convicted in a
Well, it's
court
a
of
very
law,
strong word. It's a very strong word, and it has to be used with a very at least a an exemplary deliberation. You know what I mean? Like, does this person like have hatred? Do they push out hatred, or do they are they truly just a vile person, or do I just disagree with them and I strongly disagree with them? You know what I mean? Do
I
they
mean, that
have
could also
malice in
just
their
be
heart,
somebody like me. Like maybe they're
or
just like a
are they
dumbass.
just wrong?
Pardon my French.
You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah.
It's
They're just
it's Yeah, my where I come and that to loop back around the whole dueling meme and stuff is basically I'm like, all right,
yeah.
if you're gonna call somebody else evil and you're a brave culture warrior, just taking part in the culture war, then by definition, should you not go out of your way to vanquish evil? I mean, then what the heck is a culture warrior and stuff like
Yeah.
that? And the internet, one of the trade-offs is it helped give everyone a voice. The downside to that potentially is it did give everyone a voice. So for
Yeah.
good, bad, or whatever, it's like
A lot of characters of chaos, like those gym people who just like are just like videotaping too much. You know what I mean? Now
it's well, I mean, part of that that's probably content and stuff like that. Because I
I'm
mean,
all for
well,
taping yourself. I'm all for taping yourself in the gym, for practicing like your form, and all that stuff. Like if you're doing your squats, you're doing deadlifts, sometimes you're doing bench,
is the gym a
and
place for live streaming?
no,
I
I
tend to
don't do that.
agree. Yeah, personal opinion.
I'm if it's your own gym, that's a different story. But if it's like a private gym that's not yours, or maybe you're doing a video, that's okay. Like
It kind of be like
I
live
watch a
streaming the
lot of
TGI
I watch
Fridays,
a
and it's
lot of videos of the gym. I
it's
do.
yeah, it's one of those things where it's like that's what we consider kind of etiquette and stuff. And again, like in standard society, like when
Yeah.
folks are freaking out on the internet, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of things to freak out about. But
I mean,
I don't know.
most of the
I
time
go
it's
outside, I go to places. Most folks are just generally kind of polite and stuff like that. Maybe it's just my reference frame being a masshole that folks pretty much anywhere else seem friendly to me. Um, but it's one of
yeah,
those things where it's like if so,
25% of it, it's good. It's good. It's good content. 25%. The other 75, it's just like girls just trying to show their butt. You know what I mean?
I I mean, I think the algorithm also kind of shows us what we want to see, for better or worse. But
Not for better or worse.
my thing
It
is,
pushes
if
the thing
folks
that
are
gets clicks,
angry,
for better or worse. You
oh,
know?
yeah, well, people are playing the game. It's like, hey, don't hate the player,
Yeah.
hate the game. But when I see folks, I'm like, all right, oh, this person is bad and everything. It's like, well, what are we gonna do? We're gonna talk on a live stream and talk about how bad this person is because we're gonna get money, and people will get escalated and stuff. My thing is, I'm just like, all right, well, if you are a brave culture warrior, you're a leader to all your different followers, subscribers, whatever you want to call them there. It's like
Yep.
you're willing to have skin in the game and basically at least get into the ring and potentially get punched in the face, legally, of course. I mean, it's not like you're just spouting a whole bunch of hot garbage out there and then riling people up to get them to do your dirty work for you. I mean, what do they call it? Oh, I think the kids call it a grifter.
Yeah, grifter.
It just puts a
So what
cap
you're saying is,
on cheap clout. That's all.
yeah. Oh, everyone's chasing clout nowadays. Everyone's
Oh
chasing
heck yeah, me
all the
too. Yeah.
clout.
Just be
Oh
honest
yeah,
about it.
me. Yeah, yeah, me, kind of me too. But I just like to. I'm enjoying the game. Not the game, hate the player, hate the game kind of game. No, I'm enjoying the sport, if you will, of you know making videos, um,
Yeah,
doing doing the talking as a puppet, stuff like that. It's just and that's what you gotta do. You gotta love what you do, and people will see that. If you don't love what you do, then people will see through that. And it's just that's how it is. People like
it
stuff
may
that's
take a
real,
little
not
while,
that stuff
but
that's
people
performed.
will figure it out. And it's
Oh yeah.
usually listen. If you have a bad time or something,
Oh yeah. If
if
you're
you mess up,
successful and you're
you
being
look
a
kind of
fake and a
silly.
fraud and a phony, that's gonna bite you and it's gonna burn you. I've one too many people that freaking I've read online. They were big names, and then everyone caught them being a fraud. And guess what? Everyone's they had to shun themselves away from the internet forever. Well, maybe not forever, but who knows?
Well,
Temporarily.
that or they just like rechange their name, stay low for a
Oh
little
yeah,
bit, then come
rebrand.
back and start putting things and hope that people forget.
Yeah, hope that people forget. Maybe they're fraction. Maybe they're irrelevant now. Who knows? Or maybe they're back to their peak. I don't know these things. It's an interesting thing. You know what I mean?
The
But
internet is a
what
fascinating
what what
experiment.
what the internet can't do is take away your gains and your endurance and your speed, your power, strength, endurance. Yeah, I
Well,
mean
I mean,
that's why I
unless
go to
you
the
find
gym.
yourself being
Eat
sucked
good.
into it and you're,
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, you could make that argument. No, but I hear what you're saying, coach, because as long as you're going out there, as long as you're like working hard, doing something, number one, you're doing something. And all I know
exactly.
is an object in motion tends to stay in motion. So if you're going at a good clip, you can usually keep going. You can do
Oh yeah.
better. And then you start to see
Yeah,
more gains and
stays in motion.
everything. You see
Yeah,
changes. You're like, oh my God, I can fit into this shirt and stuff like that now. It's like
yeah,
that's pretty cool. And what was it? Give a shout out to I think it's Dave Dana. I see him on Twitter. I think he has a YouTube too. But
yeah.
that guy, I think it was like 2 or 3 years ago. It's like he was like 400 pounds. He was like binge eating every like Friday night, drinking, getting hammered and stuff like that.
He was
And then one
terrible.
day he's like, I'm done with this. So he literally started getting up at like 5 o'clock or maybe earlier in the morning to go to Planet Fitness each day. Did all this stuff. Now he's down like he's lost over 150 pounds. He's still got a bit of ways to go. But I saw him and he was at Arnold Schwarzenegger's whatever their pump event that they have there,
Oh,
and
the
he
Arnold
was there
Classic.
with him.
He was
He
at
got
the Arnold
shown
Classic.
Arnold's office and
Yeah,
stuff like that. He's going around. Arnold's giving him
yeah,
shout outs. He's like, "Listen, this man has worked hard, and he has." Because I saw it. I'm like,
yeah,
"Dude, fire, brother, fire. Keep on
yeah.
going."
I mean, it's hard. It's hard. You can't, there's a difference between the two type of characters. You know what I mean? There's there's the guy who's in the gym. He's eating good stuff. He's getting his sleep good. His cardio's good. And guess what? He looks like C-Bum. Chris Bumstead, Mr. Olympian, for the classic physique. Um,
Mm.
it was great. That's great. Those types of guys. You know, um, And then there's the type who sit around, they just play video games. They're lazy, they're too lazy to do their job, and they eat all the
Well, it's
freaking
a trade
junk
off
food.
because it can be hard. Coach, it can be hard, like especially
Yeah.
if you're kind of in a bit of a slump or something like that, and you're playing your game. Because I mean, I was like this, so it's like, all right,
Oh
I'm
yeah.
playing World of Warcraft, I'm doing all these things, I'm at the advanced cutting edge, or at least a relatively so with decently high rank guild, which is probably the only reason I kept playing because otherwise I would have
Yeah.
quit before then. But I was a crazy person when trying out when they were stuck on the Four Horsemen and Naxxramas. When we were going around clearing
All
trash,
right,
it's
mate,
like
mate, mate, you're
you
going on a tangent. You're going on a tangent. This is
limited
dangerous.
invulnerability
This,
potions.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm done.
So, anyways, and well, just say you're gonna look big bodied. You're gonna essentially like Boogie 2988. My goodness, just
Well,
you're just
the
eating.
whole point I was getting at is if you're kind of in a slump, it seems like you can't get out there. It's like it
Oh
seems
yeah,
so far away, but that
and you're
first
comfortable.
step,
You're comfortable in that area. You're comfortable in this thing, and you're eating, and you're eating a lot because you like to eat a lot, and comfort
oh,
food is
but
a
then you
comfort.
eat and then you feel bad about that. So how do you fix that?
Yeah,
Oh, eat some more and stuff.
eat some more because you
Yeah,
feel bad, and what makes you feel good is eating. Yeah,
it's a vicious cycle, man. Yeah.
it is a vicious cycle. You gotta learn discipline, and discipline, 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 and then you start looking like, um, like a Mr. Olympia. Yeah, those
I
guys
mean,
are
it's
strictly.
you don't have to look like a Mr. Olympia. It's just you just do better for
Yeah,
you and stuff. Just remember who you are and who you could be. That's the thing. Just keep it in your head. You strive to that goal. You realize you're never going to
wait a
be
second.
perfect, or at least
Wait a
most
second,
of
memes.
us.
Are you saying you don't have to look like Mr. Olympia? Are you saying
You
that
don't have to.
you
I
don't
mean, they
have
could look
to?
like
But
you.
oh my goodness, look like a monster.
I mean, I think
Wow,
you're a very dashing young minotaur.
that's true. That's true. Yeah, and I do work out a lot, and I'm trying to be the best version of me possibly.
Yeah.
Well, let's just face it. I might work out 100 million times a day, but I'll never look like freaking Arnold Schwarzenegger in his prime.
Well, I mean, he's also like a human. You're a minotaur, but that's nobody's
That's true.
perfect.
That's true. Yeah, yeah. He's not a minotaur, so that's
Hmm.
true. All right, all right, there, memes. Okay.
What else we got? Where
Any
do we want to
advice for
go?
those who are struggling, who are maybe in the beginning of their workout, or maybe they're 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 like not intermediate, but like an advanced beginner. You know what I mean? Do you have any advice for them?
Do what you gotta do so you can do what you want to do, because you can. I mean, the choice is really yours. I mean, if you just yell at somebody to do something, chances are they're probably not going to do it. Not always, but depends on the situation. If like if you're going to boot camp or something, but it's more like it seems impossible at times. But if there's one thing I've learned, it's occasionally what seems to be impossible may become possible. Now, sometimes that requires help. Sometimes you're kind of down, maybe reach out to somebody. It's okay. A lot of folks, they feel nowadays, "Oh, I can't do this. Oh, it's a sign of weakness." You know what? Maybe to some it is. But I'll just put it this way. It's like if you're 22, 23 years old, it's a lot easier to kind of be like, oh, let me change everything up rather than doing it when you're, I don't know, like 35, 40 or so.
Oh
It's
yeah,
hard. It's doable. Again, check with your doctor, make sure everything's all right. But in general, what I found is you just got to do it. You literally just got to
true.
take that first step. Again, that's why I love that One Punch Man quote. The
Yeah, the sooner
tallest
the better
mountain
too.
started as a stone. Again, not
Yeah,
geologically correct, but just you
yeah,
might start off as a stone, and who knows what you could build to, what you could ascend to. And a lot of folks might say, "Oh, that's never going to happen," but it's like,
yeah. Or,
have you
or oh
tried?
my goodness, I dug myself into a pit. Now I'm 400 pounds. You know what I mean? But like that guy you said before, he's slowly climbing up. He's not out of the hole yet, but my goodness, he'll be out soon, and then he'll start climbing the mountain like the rest of us.
I mean, to be fair, I don't like the whole thing because last time I played Minecraft, I got stuck in a hole and stopped playing. But
Oh
as
yeah,
far as your personal life goes, don't listen to me. You
oh
have to
yeah,
do something because you want to do it. If you
yeah. Keep
want to do it,
climbing.
if you want to start it, you just think it, speak it, do it. That's what I learned from Jason David Frank. God bless his soul, but some of the
Yeah,
best advice I've ever heard.
Green Ranger. Yeah, he's a good guy. Yeah. Well,
That's all.
that's the end of the podcast there, memes. Got anything
Oh,
going on lately, or anything you wanna spit out?
just trying to do some sciencey stuff, put out some videos, going to a conference in Austin, Texas for the 7th of 8th of April, coinciding with the eclipse. I know Thad's going to be giving a talk, and I'm giving a short poster presentation over there. So if anybody's
Nice.
in the greater Texas area and wants to tune into a science conference or something, tickets are online, tickets are available for the venue and stuff. Demystify science, or
Oh, yeah.
I forget what it
Yeah, it's
is.
important. It's important to work out your mind as well as your body. Oh yeah, and that's how you become the best you can be. And that's all we could ask for. With me, Coach Murphy, and memes. This has been Hypertrophy with Coach Murphy. Uh,
Peace out, everybody.
I'm gonna, yeah. Uh,
Oh. Oh,
balloons
that's
again.
where the
The balloons
balloons come
again.
from. Oh,
Yeah.